Hi everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. I know there is a lot going on and a lot that has happened in both real world, music worlds, any world really, but I decided to make a video. It's been a while and it's gonna be a long one, as I do, but as you can see, I am in a sea of books. There's so many, I don't even think you can tell how much is on the screen. And I thought, why not remind people that, while you're at home, the big silver linings when we're going through this rough patch, and you gotta be home. There's plenty of time to read. There's plenty of knowledge to be gleaned. At this time you can learn how to make bread, make cheese, learn recipes. I know it's always cooking. You know, learn new music. You can still go outside for a walk, which I highly suggest. At least going outside in the yard to stretch. But reading is so important right now. Even if you like fiction, nice little getaway. It's all good. I definitely think reading is one of the best things you could probably be doing right now. And it's also good to read together if you have a partner, or a family member. It's really good, or even a kid. I still distinctly remember, reading with family members. It's definitely really good. But a few other things have happened. Obviously, with the music and, my shirt, we are reminded that Genesis Peerage of Throbbing Gristle in Psychic TV has very sadly passed away. And yes, I have read Cozy's book. I do know all about Jen. This isn't the time or video to discuss all that. I do think in his later years that he had become a better person, and no matter what, at the end of the day, Jen is still one of the best frontmen of music ever. So background music, we are listening to, of course, Throbbing Gristle. This is a reissue. As you can tell, the a certain picture is not here. Really good reissue, really loud. I actually have this on the lowest volume and it's coming out so clear and loud. It's actually on a translucent green, which I think 20 Jazz Funk Rates is also on. Maybe all Throbbing Gristles are on this weird see-through green. I don't know. But yeah, like I said, it's gonna be a long video. I have so many books to get through. It'll probably be edited a little bit because for some reason, even though clearing out my phone and everything, I can only seem to film in half-hour increments. So we'll see. Hopefully it doesn't take that long, but I don't care. I like long videos, and so many books. So as the title suggests, I have books that range from music books to history. So cooking, a lot of cooking books, economics, and I even got manga. I got a manga haul for you guys. Speaking of nerdy stuff, we're getting to it. Other stuff that goes on is I do play Animal Crossing for the Switch. So if you have a friend code, you can DM me on Twitter. My DMs are always open. So you can have me as a friend. It's hard to play backwards. As you can see, I have my pedal board already. Ooh. Ah. I was trying to show off the pedal board. Wrong buttons. Yeah. But anyway. But yeah, please add me. I want friends. I want Animal Crossing interaction. Alright, enough. Let's get into books. Probably the most exciting item I got was someone I've been emailing back and forth. A really, really wicked nice person. Very cool. This is something a little expensive, but I've been wanting for a very long time. Plus, it's gonna have to do with a series of stuff I want to talk about on this channel. And this is the Muslim Gods book. This is the biography, Chasing the Shadow of Burne Jones. I can never tell if it's Byrne. I think it's Byrne. I apologize. But yeah, really, it's all textured. But yeah, this is wicked cool. And yeah, this gentleman, very cool person. He has a really big archive.org presence too. Lots of cool stuff. But yeah, look at that. It's all this information on Muslim Gods. If you don't know Muslim Gods, he was a young industrial artist who made hundreds of albums, basically all discussing the plight of, the Muslim people and the problems of Palestine and all that stuff. And whether your political beliefs are, we can all agree that the music was wicked good. What a talented individual. Just straight, great industrial, dark ambient stuff. Yeah, he sent a lot of extras and goodies with that book. I probably do a whole video on the stuff. Some more Muslim God stuff. He even sent me stuff that's printed right on papyrus, which is so cool. Very, very cool. I have a few of these. I might just do a frame and put them all in, because I did get a poster too. He sent me this sticker too for HFest, which is very cool. Wish I could have gone. And some zines from Woman, which are really, really cool. Stuff like this. I Love You, Gabrielle Bell from Jason Kiefer. And Amanda Crawford. This one's really cool. This is Hora Perditi. It's really awesome images and stuff in this. Great work. Okay, I can't spend too much time on stuff because I have so much stuff to show you. So many books, and we're already at 6 minutes. Really quick, weird thing, but I just wanted to show this. I didn't know these existed until I kind of like looked at BookTube or the book community or whatever, but these are book sleeves. See, I always bought kind of expensive music books, and then all I had to my name really in a certain period of my life was like a backpack. So I was always worried about my expensive books kind of like getting damaged, like the England's Hidden Reverse or Cozy's book. So I put them in like a Ziploc bag in my backpack, but apparently these are a thing you can just get to keep your book protected, and I got a Little Red Riding Hood because I love it. So if you didn't know those are a thing, and they protected a lot of nice books I have. Alright, enough. Where do I even start? I guess I could start with the manga. Maybe this is too much of a big endeavor of a video. Alright, so the first one is called Comics Underground Japan. And this is a compilation book. It has quite a few, sort of an anthology. Sorry, compilation. It's got one of my favorite artists ever, which is one of the reasons I picked it up, is Suhiro Maru, who did the art for the infamous Midori film. The cover is awful. This is a terrible cover, but the art is great. All these artists are... Oh, see where I get stuff on. It's just wicked cool. Obviously, I'm really into like kind of edgy, guro, cool stuff. I like cutesy stuff too, but... Ooh, some of these I can't even show. But, yeah. Oh, can't show that. Those are eyeball boobs. Can't show boobs, but I can show blood. That's okay. Yeah. There's a lot of artists here. Carol Shimoto, Mari Wahara. I recognize quite a few of these. So, yeah, really cool. This was wicked cheap, too, on the secondhand market, so I would pick that up if you like that stuff. Alright, so obviously, you'll see I'm really into cooking in this video. So I'm into, some cooking stuff. These are two things that were really cheap. I got most of this at, I haven't gotten this all at once. This has been accumulating for a long time. So, half-price books and, college bookstores, other stuff. So, most of this is second-hand, actually. Yeah. So, here's a cutesy manga called Sweetness and Lightning. I guess it's about a widow who teams up with one of his... I can't think, he's a teacher, one of his students, and he helps him to learn how to cook for his daughter who misses her mom's cooking, and, overly cute and sentimental, I hear, and just cooking, so I'll try it out. I only got one volume, we'll see if I like it. And here's for a light novel, so it is fiction, it is a novel, and more on the cooking theme, Restaurant to Another World, so this seems cute. This seems about, about a restaurant that can travel through worlds and, feeds, elves and, fantasy creatures and just cooking and cutesy fantasy, and there's a cat on there, so why not? There's actually a DJ I follow on Twitter, and he really, really likes the series, so I'll check it out. See, this my boyfriend actually got for me for Valentine's Day. I actually hadn't heard of this artist. This isn't really a manga. This is an art book. This is Yuko Higuchi's Cats. I don't think I showed this in my last haul video, Valentine haul. But look at the art. The cats dressed up as ogres. It's like a mix of cutesy, surreal, some kind of horror. The art is just insanely good. Like, I love this so much. All of this. And I love the way he draws little Java sparrows. Look at that. So cute. I wish I could just have posters of this on my wall. The cardinal. I love foresty stuff. This art is very much my my aesthetic, as the children say, right? And look, the book looks so cool about the binding. Look at that. I love it. It reminds me of fantasy books I used to be obsessed with. I've been trying to find one. If anybody knows, let me know. It's called The Second Earth, I think. And the art was so maximal and beautiful and awesome. It was wicked cool. Alright. I got two volumes. So these next three things I did buy new. These aren't new. I bought from Biz. This is volume 2. In volume 3, Yurusei Yatsura, which is a very, very famous Japanese series, a manga series from Rumiko Takashi, I can think of her name. And yes, she's the woman who did Inuyasha and Ramna 1.5. I actually think this is her best series. So if you weren't too into those, I think anybody can be into this series. It's wicked good. It's basically about the main character, Ataru, who is a huge womanizer and skirt chaser, but it's done very funnily. He's actually a pretty lovable character despite that. And he also has extreme bad luck, and he basically gets tricked into, well, I shouldn't say tricked. There's a misconception of me in the series that he's marrying this alien chick named Lum, and she's absolutely in love with him, and their misadventures of him trying to be with every chick while being married to Lum, and, you know, she's an alien, so wacky stuff ensues. It's great. Obviously very early 80s manga art, which is the best art. I love early manga stuff. You know, all the characters are great. She's great. I mean, it legit makes me laugh, too. I'm not really one to, like, laugh at horror things. I know, I'm a huge edgelord, but I legit, the visual gags and just, like, stuff in there, like, makes me chuckle. And the anime is good, too. I've actually been slowly watching. It has, like, 195 episodes, so I would suggest it on, you know, this time, if you're into anime and want something long haul. It's hard to get on DVD and Blu-ray, but if you sail the 7 seas, it is easily available. And then I got this new too. This is a series I want to get into. The Saga of Tanya the Evil, light novel. I believe it's about a bitter old Japanese man who gets reincarnated as a military little girl, maybe? It sounds very Japan. I don't like to know a lot about this stuff, so I can just go in completely blind, which is fun. I've heard good things. I've heard a lot of people don't like the visual novel because it reads like a war story, but I really enjoy that stuff. One of my favorite books was All Quiet on the Western Front when I was in high school, so I'm really into like that kind of junk. And then another anthology manga. This is alternative manga. Look at that cover. Can't wait to read this. And yeah, this has stuff by Shinichi Abe, Yusako Hanakuma, and like lots of famous people. Heir to the legendary Garo zine, which was a famous like underground Japanese zine that would host a lot of like early famous Garo artists and stuff like that. So really cool stuff. Ooh, that was loud. I'll try and show you guys some art. My room's gonna be a mess. Very cool. So you're already halfway done. I hardly got into the books, but so there might be a cut. I'm trying to find really cool. I mean, there's so much cool art in this. Like, Look at that. There's like, I love seeing different manga art styles too. I honestly kind of hate saying manga. I've always said manga, but you know, studying Japanese, still say manga, but I kind of don't want to. Like, look how great that is. So yeah, here's some of the artists. Let's see if we can go into that description. But yeah, alternative manga. Very cool. That stuff slide under me. And I got volume 4, Plus Size Elf. I like this series, don't judge. If you... I mean, I'm really into, like, Robert Crumb art. You know, I like females with the chubby bods and the boots and the big butts. So, if you like really, really legitimately funny comedy and just really great artwork of, you know, beautiful, thick woman in misadventures, and, like, actual... They, like, try to give you legitimate dieting tips and working out and stuff. It's fun. Basically, it's like the struggle is real, the manga. Do people even say that anymore? It's fun. It's cute. And I guess... Oh, I got this too. It's not really manga, but... this is a really good dictionary. I'm really enjoying it. This is Kodansha's Furigana Japanese Dictionary. So it's really good. So when you're reading something, Furigana is... If I can show it. It's the little... kind of, it's a little kana that appears above kanji, so you understand, like, how to read it and look it up. So this helps if you have, like, a physical Japanese copy, so you can just, like, add, you know, something that has, hiragana, furigana, so you can look it up easily, know what the word is. It helps. Alright, enough of the weeb crap. I know. I really wanted to show this, too, is that I'm obsessed with notebooks, and I really like this shape of notebook, the really long one, because, so I would suggest these. I got this like at $1 on clearance at like Staples, because I've always used these as my backlogs for just like looking up, like, these are my backlogs for zines, people, art, just things that I want to look up, and these are really, really useful for it. It's like a shopping list of just junk to look up. So this is one of my many music backlogs. Oh, this one also has stuff other than music for me to look at. Basically, I will never ever be done learning about new stuff. Alright, so time to flip the record over, and I guess we'll get into this side first, because there's a lot of big books right here, so I will be right back. Ooh, it's everyone's favorite track, Hamburger Lady. Where even begin? So, like I said, a lot of this is going to be cooking books, because I'm really fascinated by the science behind cooking and, like, the history of food and just all that general stuff. It's just one of my biggest fascinations, like, some music in life. I picked up one of those grocery store cookbooks for Irish food, but it's my favorite kind of... I'm very picky. I don't just collect cookbooks, despite what you're going to see here. I'm really, really picky. It kind of have to have, like, a picture for every recipe, and very simple stuff, because I do cook a lot of these dishes, but not always. It kind of is very dependent on the book itself. There's, like, a small part of me that, like, eventually wants to make a channel where I just, like, make really weird recipes from really weird cookbooks to see how they are. I don't know. So speaking of, let's get into all that. So here's a really thick book. This is On Food and Cooking, The Science and Lore of the Kitchen. I'm really excited to read this because it looks like it's really just straight up like the science and chemistry of cooking, which is very cool to me. I love gastronomy, like all those really in-depth, like totally not needed videos of like people like converting liquid from strawberries into like glass candy and all the crazy science of it, or the frou-frou stuff people say. I love all that. I'm really into it. It's wicked cool. So I'm really into like Nordic cooking lately. I do like seafood, but I ended up watching, this was totally by accident. I had somehow ended up watching like 3 documentaries, and they all revolved around like Norwegian cooking and Nordic cooking. I think one was like Norma, My Perfect Storm, which is like about the restaurant Norma. And one was just straight up about like Norway's identity with food, and I don't know, it just like all really fascinated me. Also, it brought back a cookbook I had found. Basically, there was a point in my life where I was pretty much living at the library because it's all I had. And this book it was just ginormous. It was a ginormous cookbook, and it fascinated me so much because I had no idea about this culture and cooking. And I became obsessed since, and I had to re-get this book because my interest had gotten sparked years later. I finally have it. And I didn't realize it was kind of a pricey book. I got it for the cheap though. This is the Nordic Cookbook. This thing is a monster. I don't know if the camera can show it off well. It's even got a little bookmark. But this is so cool. And of course the pictures. I really just want to go to Norway. You're in Finland just to take pictures. Like, look at that. I am not at all. I've never been interested in visiting like tropical areas for vacation. You know, any of those places. Like Hawaii or anywhere in South America. Well, I would like to visit Puerto Rico. Growing up, all my friends are Puerto Rican. But I want to go to like all the cold places just to take photos. This is so cool, and the recipes are great. I want to try so many of these recipes. So this doesn't have pictures of every single recipe, but it all looks very good. I love all the use of root vegetables and seafood and just real food. I don't know. It's a lot of the kind of stuff I make or grew up eating. My stepdad was straight up like Lithuanian, and their families had a Lithuanian diner. I know that's not Nordic, but like kind of a lot of stuff seems to be like that. Just stuff I'm used to eating. And then I took over cooking in the house when I was 11. He still cooked once in a while. And I was kind of surprised that I found like 3 books on this. Tastes and Tales in Norway. So I kept like wanting to put this book back, and I'm like, I don't need this. I already have 2 cookbooks for Scandinavian, Norwegian food, all that fun stuff, but it's just, if there was anecdotes and histories of this woman like growing up there and her struggles and all her recipes and how they like reflect in her life and history, and I'm like, I need this. I love like female stories and history and anecdotes, especially when it comes to food. And her recipes seem different. I'm kind of curious to like how her differences or how all these recipes differ from each other and which one's like the best one or which one's the flavor one. I guess it's really on the person, but I was too curious. And like all these books were pretty cheap, and you gotta hoard the books. Actually, before I'd even gotten all of these books, I had went through all my books, stuff I had read I didn't really enjoy, or stuff I wasn't gonna read again. I figured someone out there would appreciate it better than me than this. It just sitting there. I like to purge stuff if I don't actually use it. I like to use everything I have. It's kind of like a compulsion. So I got rid of a whole bunch of books, and then I think I have more. I think I have a net gain of books. So here was the first one I got, called the Scandinavian Cookbook, and this one is very, very nice. I saw this and I couldn't stay away. And again, it's by a female cook. I think she's just like a family home cook. Amazing photos. Really good looking recipes. I can't wait to try a lot of these. And they eat a lot of cod, and it's probably different than the cod from Massachusetts that I'm used to, but I really love it. And I'm really curious about all the reindeer recipes. I won't lie. I want to try the reindeer. I really like venison. I try not to eat too much meat. I do make a lot of just vegetable dishes. I like vegetables, but I do want to try the reindeer. This one's been really good too. This is just history of food. Really, really thick tome that I am very much enjoying. Right now I'm in the history of like honey and just how it's helped human society. Basically it started from the beginning of like how using tools and hunting and eating meat, has helped us evolve and develop into society basically, and hunting. And you'd be surprised how much honey kind of coincides with that. A lot of people know about how like meat had helped humans tribalize and all that, but honey had a really big influence on stuff, and then cereals, and then it's kind of just goes on and on. I don't know. It's really, really interesting, entertaining. And it's interesting to learn about like human nature and cultures and people and interactions just from reading about food and economics and trade. It's all there. Uh, this is so I want to get good at making bread, and this is just making fresh bread. It seemed very, very user friendly. As much as I've been cooking for many, many, many years, my baking isn't as good as my cooking, but all the breads seem good. I'm really interested in making like rye breads and sourdoughs. Oh, I turned right to rye bread. I want to try all those. I really, really love sourdough rye bread. Although I think my favorite bread is pumpernickel, and they have a recipe for that here. Here's their sourdough. Although I know there's a vegan YouTuber who has videos on making homemade sourdough, and he uses raisins as his starter for fermentation. So that's pretty interesting. I might try that out. And of course, eventually, I'm into cheese. The Cheesemaker's Apprentice. So this seems really cool too. This is kind of in depth of like famous cheesemakers. They kind of interview them, and they give you they give you tips of how they started making cheese and what to do and what not to do. It goes really, really in depth, which I appreciate. I want to know like everything about cheese, all the science, how it dries, how it ages, all about the molds, how it affects taste. I want to know it all. Appreciate all the photos, all the measurements, all the interviews. I love hearing everyone's different perspective on stuff, especially when they have a real passion for it or just so knowledgeable. That's why I'll even watch YouTubers of like music or stuff that I myself I'm not even really into, or I'm just an outsider, but if they're so passionate about it, I love just hearing people talk about stuff. A lot of times it convinces me. Alright, these next books were actually like the cheapest books, but they're also the biggest. Maybe that's why. This was only like $4. This is a giant book. It just says pasta. This is wicked cool. It's pretty heavy. And it gives you like the history of pasta, like what wines to serve. This is gonna be such a pain in the butt to show. What wines to like have with it, and then the actual recipes for like pasta and stuff are really in depth, and they do the awesome thing where they give you pictures of like the steps every way. Like this is really, I can't believe how cheap this was, probably because it's so cumbersome. All this is great. I cook a lot of pasta. I do. I make all kinds of pasta dishes, pasta makes. It's just such an easy way to get vegetables and protein and sauces and fish and stuff in your diet. And I can't wait. I want to like try all of these. These all look so, so good. If I had a dream pasta dish I could try, there's two. There's two pastas I was gonna try, but the ingredients aren't readily available. There's mentaiko spaghetti, which is like fish roe or salmon roe, and it's used in like the summer pasta salad that they eat in Japan. It looks really good, like roe and spaghetti. That seems good. And on the seafood, I've seen this octopus eggplant pasta, like an octopus eggplant tomato pasta. It looks so good. I want to try it. Octopus is good. Can't go wrong with seafood. And then I think these are the two same. They are. These are the two same publishers. There's Culinaria France, and it's just this big, massive book. I'm really interested in Italian French cooking. I mean, of course. Again, giant, full color pages of just pure history and knowledge of like all the food and food culture in France. This is so cool. I kind of wish I could find something like this, but strictly about like desserts and pastiers and pastries. I really, really was into that documentary. I think it's the King of Pastries, or about all the French people competing in the pastry competition. When one of the main guys, they were showing the documentary when his sugar glass statue like just collapsed. Oof, my heart broke. It's good. It's kind of a laid-back documentary, but it's not at all like overproduced. Nothing seems fake or anything. It's all real, and it's really awesome. And then the Italian one. Need to get that big Italian cookbook. I want to check it out. I think it's called The Silver Spoon or something like that. Herbs. This is so cool. I can't wait to read these. I feel like when I look at these, I feel like a little kid again. When I used to just whip out giant books that my mom had, or like fantasy books, art books, you know, when you're laying on the floor on your stomach and you're just like paging through them like this because they're so big. I feel like that's gonna be me with these. Just soaking it all up. I mean, look at that. That's amazing. Culture and food history. I mean, Italy's just a cool country. And speaking of Italy, you know, my heart goes out to them right now. They will get through it. We will all get through it. We can do this, you know. Don't, you know, make sure you wash your doorknob. Like, I can't exaggerate how much washing your doorknobs helps. Unfortunately, I still have to work because I am an essential worker, but I like it. I want to help people. But yeah, just keep it up, help each other, don't be rude. And don't give in to the panic or fear mongering. You know, there's a lot that's not needed. You know, be smart, be safe. That's enough. Let's go back to books. This is another gift from my boyfriend. He found this at a bookstore, and I thought this was so cool. I really like this. I've been wanting to kind of get into zines for a while. This is Stolen Sharpie Revolution. I'm back. Sorry for the camera. I ran out of space, so here's part 2, I guess. Throb and Gristle did end, so now we are listening to a soundtrack I just can't get enough of. This is Victor Stroberg's, I can't pronounce it, Porndik Uzimekchu? I don't even know. I apologize. The weird Polish YouTube channel series with fantastic music and art. It's so good. I talked about this a lot last year. I'm so happy to finally own it on vinyl. I can't believe they put it out. I was one of the many people that begged the artist on Bandcamp, like, you need to put this out in a physical format. Yeah, I was talking about this. Okay. Copy and destroy. Stolen Sharpie Revolution. I've read this a few times now. It's so cool. It just teaches you how to like Xerox stuff and like just the love and joy of making zines. Like literally like just the passion you get from making it. Oh, look at that. Hello, the little piece of paper. This is from the artist or person distributing it made. So cool. We need to bring back zine culture even stronger now. And just we should bring back art trading. Like, through mail. I want a pen pal. Who wants the pen pal? I'll send you weird art. Okay. I think cooking, and this isn't cooking. This is like history and stuff. A few more cooking books. This one a lot of people were talking about. It's really interesting. This is Mastering the Art of Soviet Cooking, a memoir of food and longing. I'm not really into memoirs yet of cooking. I would be interested in like reading about like chefs or pastries or people in the field and just how crazy it is. I mean, I do know how crazy the kitchen is. Not a career like I would have, but that's why I have all the respect for people who can handle it. It is such a stressful world. But this is about, you know, a woman in Russia during just after World War II and the fallout and all that and the rationing of food and how she almost has a nostalgia for it and just her struggles and living in I think it says like a 1-room apartment that had like one kitchen for like 7 families and just like all this crazy stuff. I haven't gotten far into it yet, but it's been good so far. I'm really enjoying it. Of course, I feel like there's just so much not talked about, like, you know, Russia people and cultured history. I mean, they're awesome people. We need to stop being enemies with Russia. We need to all be friends, no enemies. So many people have so much to offer, so many cultures and stuff. Russians are cool, but they need to stop being stupid on Counter-Strike, please. This is one I'm reading currently. This is Consider the Fork, which I saw on like a best of like food or book list, and yeah, it's pretty interesting so far. Basically, it's about like it's the history of the tools in the kitchen, like forks, pots and pans, cauldrons, all this. I am really enjoying it right now. The writer, she's B. Wilson. She's not the most articulate writer I listen to. I don't really like notice that about writers or try to say that, but it's sometimes it's a little bit dry, not just dry with facts. I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. It's not bad though at all. It's really interesting and good. And I am curious about the history of the fork and cast iron. Actually, I'm on the cast iron part right now. It's good. um, this is an interesting one. Next to cooking, I am definitely one of those weirdo coffee snobs. I am so fascinated by like coffee culture and how we can make lives better for the farmers. That's like a whole nother industry. That's why fair trade is good. At least as I know, I'm sure people will tell me the dark history about it. I just want to make sure that when you buy coffee or stuff, that the people who got it get the money they deserve. But anyway, if you didn't know, coffee beans are actually like are fruit, and just like there's varying apples, how there's varying apple colors and species and flavors. It's just like that for coffee all over the world. And I should save that lecture for this book, but I love coffee, and this is a really weird book called Espresso Seattle Style Quick Reference Guide. And literally all it is just like pages of different drinks you can make with espresso and coffee. Like, it's so cool, and little history tidbits and stuff about it. Also about like acidity and bean quality and grinding and all that stuff. Cream puff soda. Yeah, there's some sodas in here too. Sorry about that. I am a dum-dum and I didn't delete the previous footage from my phone to make space for this one. So yeah, where were we? I showed the Espresso Seattle style book, and now I'm going to show Uncommon Grounds, the history of coffee and how it transformed our world. So yeah, like I was saying, coffee being a fruit, just having all different species and kinds of coffee beans, and it's grown all over the world, different countries, and where it grows and the temperature and soil and how people treat it all affects it. And of course, coffee has had such an impact on like culture and people and history and all that fun stuff that this is really, really fascinating. I'm actually really, really excited to read this. This is one of my top things I'm very excited for. I'm like excited for all of this, but very, very, very excited for this one. Speaking of, I have some coffee right here. Because I'm rambling so much. I'm just rambling about dumb stuff, so my voice is starting to get tired. Okay. This is another one I'm reading right now. I try not to read more than one book at a time, but I have so many books right now and just varying interests that it's kind of hard not to. It's very tempting to just read all kinds of stuff right now. This is a very cool book. This is Man, Food, and Milieu. I will be honest, I actually don't. This is a word I actually have to look up. I'm not entirely sure what that word is. I know. I'm not the most intelligent, but a Swedish approach to food ethnology. This has been really fascinating. Again, this is history specifically for Swedish food and how it shaped their like religious practices and their cultures and just how they do things. Because you'd be very surprised at how much food and eating habits do affect people in their habitat and their culture. And again, like I said, even religious practices. So all of that is here. I think this is one of the first kind of like books of its kind. It could be wrong, of like entirely focusing on like a country and people's just habits and where they came from, like eating habits and food and culinary history and how much it affected them. I think that's what the introduction was talking about. A lot of people thought the author was a little crazy being so focused on this, but as you can see, it's very interesting. I think it is. This has been really good. A lot. Very, very informal. And learning stuff all about Swedish culture that I had no idea about. Of course. Ha. Don't worry, the food's almost done. I kind of feel bad. But this is Elizabeth David, English Bread and Yeast Cookery. Another giant thick book that I'm excited to read. That's just filled with information about the history of yeast and bread making, and again, how bread is important for the culture, but also the science and how to make it and why it's important and why bread is great. Again, like I said, bread fascinates me. I love bread. I love the culture on bread. I love all the different bread stuff. I will die before you take my carbs away. Obviously, I like carbs. But cool stuff. I'm also a sucker for like secondhand books that have like this library like plastic on it. I love it. But yeah, bread. And I got this from the same store. This book got the slipcase. Ooh, I think this is right next to it. I spent a good hour. Look at that cover. Look at that. Look at the parrot. I love this stuff. This is Ray Tannehill in Food in History. It's a lot different than the other history of food book I got. Oh. I just opened this book up and there's a page for cannibalism. That is true food history indeed. The pages are nice. They got full color platelets on this one. Look at that. More food history. I think this one is a bit more political, which is very interesting to me. But yeah, I can always learn about history and politics in countries and cultures through food. It's my favorite thing. Look at that. Yeah, this was only $5 too. I was surprised. Giving these books a good home in learning. And then I think it's my favorite thing I got from that store. It's a little dirty in the front, but it's very, very cool. The Food of Italy. And it's an older book. I really love older books on histories and stuff. It's also interesting to see how ideas and history changes. So yeah, again, really in-depth about a lot of the history of Italy itself, and of course the food, but kind of, I think this one focuses a bit more on the different provinces, is that correct, of Italy, and how each one kind of does its own thing. They all have like different specialties, like some places are known for making balsamic vinegar and some wine, and some have like the cheese caves, you know, how much it's influenced cooks and foodies around the world. It's great. Alright. No more food. Apologize. Now here is some interesting stuff. I am also into like histories of wars and countries and stuff. So I just finished reading a few books on kind of the history of Israel and the migration. I'm kind of trying to learn a lot about the Middle East, because it's definitely a bit of a gray spot in my knowledge of people and history. I didn't know a lot, and I'm learning a lot from different books. So we'll start with this one. So I was really excited to get a few of these. This is culture and conflict in the Middle East. And it seems very simple and approachable, and I really enjoy reading all about it. Yeah, so got stuff like that, security defense in the Middle East. And this one is fairly recent, so that'll be good. You know, I think it's important to understand the relationships between all the different countries, and of course the relationship with us, because I am from America. These are both books on Palestine. So this is The Iron Cage, the story of the Palestinian struggle for statehood. So that'll be very interesting to read. And then this seems like a first-hand account. This is The Battle for Justice in Palestine. So I actually had never seen this book before. I'm very, very interested in reading it. I really enjoy reading first-hand accounts. I feel like it's important to read about all the struggles from every different side, no matter what you believe in, and figure it out, because everyone, everywhere, struggles. And understanding is important. This is actually a fiction book. This is not history. This is a classic fiction book I've been meaning to read for a while. This is Osamu Dase's No Longer Human. I'm really into like the realistic kind of confessional half autobiography fiction. That's why I like Mishima so much. And, you know, I haven't read this one. I have, people are probably gonna hate me for this. I did just read Woman in the Dunes, and I saw the movie, and I actually, I'm not a big fan of it. I kind of don't like the character development. I think for me, I went into Woman in the Dunes with a different mindset of what the story was. I thought it was going to be about the woman in the dunes, not about a woman who captures a man in his downfall. Doesn't really focus on her struggle and her just belittlement and abuse by like the villagers and all that. It just kind of focuses on him, and then it's a weird obsession of like trying to prove the villagers wrong and shows intelligence. I don't know. I like the visuals of the film. It's out of the book and the film. They actually are. The film is pretty accurate to the book. They do a good job with that. I don't know. I just don't think it's for me. I like a lot of famous movies and stuff. So, but that one, you know, you gotta have a few that you're just like, I don't get it. I don't know. But the visuals are really good. I would definitely suggest it. Enough rambling of that. This is a very silly book. I kind of have like a passing interest in, I don't know how to put it, like medicinal cooking, but I also am into a little bit of a snake oil, just interesting new age stuff. This is Between Heaven and Earth, a guide to Chinese medicine. But I'm just kind of interested in like the real Chinese medicine stuff, like what they used and herbs and history of that and what they believe in. I think it's very interesting. So if you know, I did a whole documentary on Yugoslavian music, and I'm really, really into the history of Yugoslavia. This is Broken Bonds and the disintegration of Yugoslavia. I enjoy reading about it. To me, it's very sad, but it's also fascinating. I think more people need to understand what can be and what could be and what happens when, you know, people get conquered and divided, I suppose. So yeah, very interesting. They had a few books in that section for like specific countries like Bosnia, and like one specifically about like the Muslim struggle during the collapse of Yugoslavia, which I really wanted, but it was wicked expensive. I'm really sad. I want to read about that. This one I've had on my list for a while. This is Free Woman of Spain. This is anarchism and the struggle for the emancipation of women. So, yeah, I've been reading books about, you know, true frontline, like, woman struggles, just crazy history stuff. It doesn't have to specifically be woman, but I do find it kind of fascinating because it's such unsung history. I feel like, in Spanish history in general isn't something that's discussed a lot, at least when I went to school, so it's always great to read about that and hear about that. I've heard really good things about this book, so I am excited to read that. Another fiction book. I didn't organize this. And just adding to my hoard of Mishima books. I have read this one. This is actually, I borrowed this from the same library where I discovered the Nordic Cookbook. I really enjoyed this. I think this is my second Mishima book I read. My first one was Confessions of a Mask, and then I read this. And then I read my favorite one, Forbidden Colors, and it's literally the only one I haven't seen in any bookstore. I cannot find it. And I want to find the edition that I read, which was like an older one. Yeah, this is Acts of Worship. This is like 7 short stories anthology, and it's good. It's pure Mishima. Great fiction. Very realistic fiction. This is Hunger and War, Food Provisioning in the Soviet Union during World War II. Again, Soviet Union history I find very fascinating, and the effects of people and their struggles and how they got through. I'm really, really impressed and love, I don't know, like human accomplishment. I'm very impressed by it. I love when people can get through major things and their struggles and coming out on the other side and just talking about it and helping others, and even just hearing about like how strong people are and like countries are. It's insane. I love that. I'm very impressed by people. The last one I'm actually borrowing from my boyfriend's library. He has a massive library. And this, I actually really, really enjoy reading this. This is Basic Economics with Thomas Sowell. So economics is definitely, again, something I didn't, like, I knew basic economics, but I kind of wanted better explanations. I wanted to know what I was talking about or understanding when I would read stuff about it. And A Common Sense Guide to the Economy. And honestly, yeah, you would think like something like this would be like really dry, like you're reading like a textbook or a school workbook, but you're really not. The author is very, very approachable with his words. It's actually kind of enjoyable to read about this. He really, really breaks it down and makes sense to you and explains it, and you really can understand like economics. And I feel like this is important too if you're into political discussion or understanding stuff. I feel like you need the basic understanding of why things work and they don't work. Like, what are the problems of capitalism and the benefits? The problems of socialism and the benefit. Like, what's the good and the bad? Because everything has good and bad. And I feel like this is a really, really good basic point to, like, how do I say this? It's a good stepping stone to understand that, like having a base, a foundation. But at the end of the day, talk about politics online is stupid and dumb and for dummies, and stop it. Let's talk about music instead. So, yeah, I actually have another book by him that I'm borrowing. He wrote The Vision of the Anointed. I believe this book is kind of about, like, people who are all bark nobody. They kind of think they're better than others because they're always doing the right thing, or they're just such good people, kind of like virtue signalers, and not for like any specific political agenda, but just people who just think they're such good people, even they're usually not good people. So I'm interested in reading that. So yeah, I have a lot of books. That is my haul. The record is done. I thank you all for watching this and my rambling and saying dumb stuff. And, like I said, if you have a Animal Crossing friend code you want to give me, you can DM me on Twitter. I usually get on about, probably on at like 8 or 9 EST after work and making dinner and all that. But yeah, I want friends. Let's get through this together. Let's read. Let's play Animal Crossing. Let's go for walks. Let's work out. Let's maybe learn languages. Let's, learn each other more. We can do it. All right. So yeah, like I said, thank you so much for watching, and